to all the urbanists out there. Right now we are in the island where people forget to die. Yep, this is the island also of eternal life, Ikaria. I decided to venture from the southern region, Agios Kyrikos, the capital, which is a bit more sleepy, to the northern region, which is known more for its tourism, its parties, a little bit more lively port here in Evdilos. I'm Ariel, this is Urbanist. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm super excited to explore more of this northern region of Ikaria. It was crazy coming up here because we passed through some huge mountains. It went all the way up. You see massive views. You see all the Fortney Islands. It was just beautifully impressive. But here we're passing through these gorgeous streets, very reminiscent of the Aegean Islands. But we are not in the Aegean Islands. We are not in the Cyclades. We are in the East Aegean Islands, which is Ikaria, and actually a little bit later maybe we'll catch a glimpse of Chios, which is out further in the distance. I love the vibes over here. MZ says you're back. Yeah, I think a motorcycle's about to pass. 2 motorcycles. Hey, Anthony says, enjoying your Greece streams. How's the coffee scene here? So almost every village, town, and city will have coffee shops. A city will have tons of coffee shops everywhere. A village will at least have 3 or 4. Right now in Evdilos, I think there's 3, 4, 5 coffee shops that are cafes. You generally can eat anything, can drink later at night, and they serve coffee all day. And Greeks are known to drink coffee even late into the evening, even at night. So here's a restaurant I just went to. Amazing, amazing restaurant. I will be posting Instagram stories on it. So follow me on Instagram, Urbanist Live. It's very empty now. But here we get to see the views. This place is called Cozy Blue. So that restaurant is amazing. It's called Cozy Blue. Probably get way more full after 8 to 9 p.m. or so. Ikarians live pretty late during the summer, and they wake up very late also. And this is the reason it's called the land of eternal life, is because this is one of the blue zones of the world. There's very few blue zones in the world. There's a place in California. There's an area in Japan, there's the island of Sardinia, especially the mountains of Sardinia, where people on average live beyond the age of 100. And this is no exception. Right here, people live beyond the age of 100. And scientists still can't really figure out fully why, but there are theories. It might be a combination of all different factors. Very low stress. As I mentioned, Ikarians wake up late, sleep in late. Also, lots of social life. Ikarians into their late age are still hanging out with friends, still walking around, still meeting with friends, still playing chess and other board games, smoking and drinking with friends, and dancing. And then the third factor might be food. Food is super fresh here, and I just had some of the best salad and grilled squid in my life right now at this restaurant, which you'll see on Instagram. So it's that combination of everything. And also they do drink alcohol, and they drink a very strong wine that has 0 additives. I tried some of that wine. it is very good indeed. So I love that all these combinations come together to make a society where people live very long. And here we have a church. And let me put on my glasses because it's getting pretty light. It's pretty dark out now. There we go. Much better. And it's humid. Way more humid than I experienced the past month in Greece. I'm not sure if it's the island itself or just the weather has changed, but it's getting humid. Maybe it's because we're getting close to September, and I think October and November when it starts raining in these parts of the Greek island. Now let's continue exploring. I think people right down there getting ready to board a ferry. I think there's usually a ferry late at night. And here's a bench. Oh wow. So these mountains are insanely high. The entire island, almost in the center, is just filled with mountains. And these mountains exceed 3,000 feet. And I had to traverse that on the public bus. There is a it's a private bus company that runs every summer. And they offer bus rides from Agios Kyrikos all the way here to Evdilos for €6. And it takes about an hour through the most crazy mountain roads. Up and down, all and almost as high as these peaks. And you can see just some spectacular views. I was blown away. Again, I'll post more of that on my Instagram story. But right now we're seeing amazing views of the beautiful mountains. We have here the port. People are waiting for their next ferry. Cars are already coming in for the ferry. The insects are loud. I love the views. It is quite humid. There's a nice mistiness. You can tell that's humid because it's looking rather misty. Overall, this is a great bench. There is no bird poo whatsoever. No cat poo, which is great. And I'm feeling very good here. My buttocks feel supported. I have like nice feet support here with this kind of railing. And I'm really enjoying these views aside from the cars that pass through tiny little slow streets. And we're in front of a church, so this is also partly a holy bench. I would give this bench a very good 8.9 out of 10. All right, let's continue exploring. Where should I go? Should I go down this way? That's the port area. Let's venture through the tiny streets. I'm not sure what it says right there, if anyone can translate. Well, it is running water. That's nice. Susie says, did you say goodbye to Nicola? Nicola is my new cat. So if anyone wants to watch my Instagram live, I'll be posting a short video of my Airbnb tour soon. But I met this wonderful cat nice orange cat, and it just hung out at my Airbnb, and it was just waiting outside every night for me. Maybe it wanted to come in, I'm not sure. I wasn't gonna let it in because it's not my home, but the cat would start grooming itself, rolling its belly. It was so adorable. And earlier this morning I made a live video on Instagram where I was just hanging out with the cat, and I never saw a cat get so friendly with me so quickly. But no, unfortunately I could not take Nicola with me. I wish I could take him on my adventures, but let me see if I can pop in a photo. All right, right here. Oh, I'm going to miss you. Oh, you're purring. Oh, you're worried. Ah, you're worried. Oh, you're amazing. Ah, you're cute. You're cute. Ah, hey. Oh, did you just let out a dookie? I think you did. I think you did. Hey. Look at how. So yeah, that was the cat that I named Nikola after Nikola Tesla. Just it's kind of almost a Greek name as well, because there's a lot of people here called Nikos. So Nikola. Nicole says he would be a good cat dad. And which is better for walking the Grecians island? For the best island for walking, Santorini, though it can get quite intense, but it is walkable. Especially each respective little city feed on Ia. Naxos kind of, but you're only really limited to the main port area. I would say Mykonos. So Santorini, Mykonos, then Naxos. Jimmy says he has claimed you. You would just wait out my door in my Airbnb. Even late at night, I opened up the door like at 12 midnight to see if he was still there. He was still there, waiting in front of the door.
Δεν κοιτάς άλλα παιχνίδια, δεν θα πάρουμε τώρα κάτι άλλο. Προχωράω εγώ, δώσε το λεπτό και θα με βρεις κάτω. Δώσε το λεπτό στην κυρία μου, έτσι το, έχει περάσει.
Hey Adam, I'm doing well, thank you so much. Jan says, adorable cat, so loving. Good afternoon everyone. Hey, good afternoon everyone. Nice to see you. Wendy says you're taking him home, really. And Ludo says, once in love with a cat, you become a cat person. He seemed to have chosen me, I didn't choose him. It was so interesting. Never knew that would happen between a human-animal relationship where just an animal just gets acquainted with you. Sophia says, hello again from the Philippines. Wish you can tour around my main city. Hey Sophia, kumusta ka? I would love to go at some point. So it might be freezing. There's bad 4G reception here, but there's good 5G. And 5G is not the most stable, unfortunately. But hopefully it's viewable, the video, nonetheless. Joe says, are you learning Greek? I gotta learn more Greek. I've learned a few more words. Kala, which means good. Efaristopoli, which means thank you very much. Ena, which means like a, so I can say Ena Freda Espresso Sketo. Kevin, nice to see you here. Chatty says Tikanis. Hey, I'm doing well. How are you, Tikanis? Tikanis means how are you? So here we have the main port area. Evdilos is one of the two main ports of Ikaria. The other one being Agios Kyrikos, where we came from. And you can see that's already way more lively than actual Agios Kyrikos. More tourists come here, and the tourists mostly being Greek. There's a few foreign tourists, but it's mostly Greek. And let me show you where Ikaria is located. Let me pop up a map. So here we have the different Greek island chains. The star in green, in light green, is Athens, the region of Attica. That's where we started. Then I went down to the blue region, light blue region, which is the Peloponnese. We only see a part of that on the map. Then I went to the Cyclades, and I visited a lot of islands, but I went to Naxos, Paros, right next to it. I went to Mykonos, and I passed by Santorini, and I also went to Crete down below. And now I'm here in this green island, the first one closest to Naxos, and that is Ikaria. And this is the East Aegean Islands with Chios in front, Lesbos, and we see Izmir and Turkey very close to us. And then right below us is the Dodecanese, which I haven't been. Wow, a lot of people here in the cafes today. I think the ferry's arriving. We see it there in the distance. A Blue Star ferry. Ooh, this is huge. This Blue Star ferry. Hey, Sophia, what phone are you using? I'm using phone 13. Yeah, lots of people here today. And this city, this island does not have a big population. The population is small, less than 10,000 from what I was reading. I'm beginning to lose track with all the island hopping, says Kay. Greece is on my wish list, says Layoda. Oh, that's amazing, Layoda. Loving your tours. How are you island hopping? By airplane or boat? Strictly ferry. I tried to buy one plane ticket. I realized I gotta fix what I have in my bag because my bags are too heavy and I'll be charged more expensive than the plane ticket itself. So I decided to just buy for a ferry, and I've been sticking to ferries ever since. My island hopping has been dictated mostly by its convenience to the ferry. Got some donuts. Wow, I'm really liking the vibes of this island, of this city, or town, barely city. Noel says, what's been your favorite island so far? Kufunisia. Those beaches were just a piece of heaven. So if you're ever in a pinch and need to buy a quick ferry ticket, these travel agencies that are usually in all the islands, even in the mainland you'll find them, they're very easy to buy a quick ticket on the ferry or other tours, and they're also generally pretty open to you asking questions about how to get around and buses. Here they have the bus schedule. It's in Greek, so you might need to use Google Translate, otherwise you can ask inside. That's what I did over in Agios Kyrikos at the travel agency there. Here they have a music festival. That's cool. Oh wow, there's a music festival. What day is it today? Ah, that's in Mesakti. Don't know where Mesakti is. Joe says, I'm still waiting, Ariel, to see you in one of those Greek uniforms. Susie says, yesterday's island would give me the creeps. What is that, Susie? I'm so curious. You know, it was an interesting island. I feel a little bit of what you're meaning. It was a pirate hideaway after all, so who knows what dark secrets lie there. All right, here's the Blue Star Ferry arriving. Whoa. Listen to that noise. Hey, Eleni says, seeing as you made it all the way to Evdilos, you really should try going to Mesakti for a swim. Eleni, yeah, I'll do my best. I don't have a car. I'm not renting a car, nor a bike. And I'm not so comfortable with hitchhiking, but I will maybe meet up with a friend who has a car, which may happen. Otherwise, maybe some other random thing might lead me to Mesakti. Who knows? Wow. But I'm still asking myself if the boat would have left without you, says Nicole. They did take my name. Yesterday, Nicole's referring to Forni, where I was unaware of the full itinerary of the boat tour from Agios Kyrikos, the same island of where I am, Ikaria, all the way to Forni, which is another island in the Eastern Aegean. I was unaware of the itinerary, and I could have missed the boat if I decided to explore further out. Luckily I didn't have time to do so. But Nicole is saying, I wonder if they would have left you. They did take my name first and last, and they took my phone number. So I think they were keeping count. So I don't think they wanted to lose anyone. Loyoda says, how long is your trip? No specific time. I book round trip flights. I usually don't tell publicly when are my flights, but yes, I do book round trip. As to that time, well, that's up to you to guess, but otherwise I use Delta, and I do change flights if needed, which I've already done once for this trip because I was going to leave last week, but no, I decided to extend my trip. So a lot of people might be wondering, hey, wow, you're super adventurous, because I know I have people of all different types of travel experience, And some people might be thinking, wow, you're super adventurous. You're going island hopping to random places. You don't even know where you're going. It might look adventurous, but I'm actually traveling very conveniently. I tend to take the ferries that are very convenient, usually during the middle of the day, so I'm not traveling in the middle of the night. That's number one. Number two is I go to the island that's closest via ferry. That's number two. Generally, I go to islands that are have some tourism, and also there's an opportunity to do day trips and some type of public transit. That was the case with all the islands I visited prior. Not the case so much with Ikaria, but I got lucky. There is a bus. And then the fourth factor is I take it easy. I go slow. I don't travel fast. So I'm not hopping around between different countries, taking a bunch of different flights, going on crazy bus rides across borders. No, I'm generally sticking to one country at a time and traveling conveniently between its destinations. And I found that a very easy way to travel. I've done that in France last year. I did that in Italy in 2021 for nearly 2 months. I did that in England also for 2 months, Ireland for a month. And I love that style of travel. So if you're thinking, oh my God, how are you doing this? You're going crazy places. It's actually all rather convenient. Hey, Manny dice, ¿sabes que esta es la zona famosa? Azul. Sí, esta es la zona famosa de las personas viviendo más de los años 100, que es bastante edad. So yes, Manny says, do you know this is a blue zone? Yeah, it is. These Blue Star ferries are so gigantic. This is the same ferry I took on my video. So watch my video of Naxos to Agios Kyrikos in Ikaria. I posted that video 2 days ago. This is the same exact ferry that I took 2 days ago because we can see the ferry name over here. The Blue Star Mykonos, that's the one I took. Eleni says, Armenistis is very nice too. Armenistis, all the way up in the mountain from Rashis. Joe says Ariel knows how to travel. He's definitely travel agent material. Sorry, not good signal. Yeah, I had to quickly check something. Whoa! What? Look at all these bikes. Oh my. So I got great news. A lot of people are huge fans of the TV personality that's based here in Ikaria, Diane Cochilas. And so far, of course, there's never guarantees, but so far, I am scheduled to meet up with her. I will most likely be doing short videos with her about Ikarian lifestyle and stuff about Ikaria. So let me know if you have any burning questions for Diane Cochilas. Might be mispronouncing her last name, but she's a TV personality, talks a lot about Greek food, Greek cuisine, has her own cooking show. Let me know the network. I'm gonna research more deeper into her, but I learned about her from many viewers who told me, hey, try and meet up with Diane, and it seems like I will be meeting up with her, so stay tuned. If you have any questions for Diane, leave a comment, not in the live chat, but after this video is finished, leave a comment on YouTube so I can see it. I can ask her that question. So leave a comment if you have any questions for her. Hey, Ron says, looking for a 100-year-old Yaya. Well, I would love to be adopted by a Greek Yaya. You know, both of my grandmothers have long passed. I lost my first grandmother when I was maybe 10. And then my second grandmother maybe when I was around, well, it was pretty late in life actually. When I was about 20, 21. So I've lost 2 grandmothers. So it would be a great pleasure to be adopted by a Greek Yaya, where she can make me moussaka. on beautiful occasions. So Matt, thank you so much for putting extra information. Evdilos, right now we are in the new seaside settlement that was built after 1830, when piracy was completely stamped out of the island and the Greek islands in general. Evdilos right now was the very first capital of the island, but then it went over to Agios Kyrikos. Right now there's only about 2,700 permanent residents here in Evdilos. Loida says, what's the best Greek restaurant in the Queens neighborhood of Astoria? I don't know. I actually don't have too much experience going to Greek cuisine there. But I have tried a few times, but I just can't remember names. Helena, be sure to leave that as a comment after the live video is done. On the YouTube comments, I'll be so appreciative. Wow, huge ferry, lots of people here, lots of motorcycles. I think there might have been a huge group of travelers that were going together, judging by all these motorcycles. Massive group of people. I would definitely recommend going to Nas for the afternoon, enjoying one of the best sunsets. There's some ancient ruin and stream ending at the beach. Oh yeah. Well, I hope I can get around. I'm completely dependent on public transportation or the kindness of anyone I meet. So maybe I'll get to Nas. Wow, look at these mountains. Stormy, nice to see you here. Welcome. So I'll show you the views that I had from my bus ride. Let's see if I can pop anything out. There we go. So this was my bus ride. There we go. All right, let's continue exploring, shall we? Beautiful sunset. However, the sun, now I know why Santorini, Naxos, and Mykonos are all popular, and also Paros. It's because the sunset is perfectly positioned where you can actually see the sunset from the main port area. Here, no. Ikaria, both in Agios Kyrikos, does not sunset, and here, no, neither. Bullet says, do you smell the smoke? Yes, it's a faint smell of smoke. All right, which boat shall we commandeer? Let me know. Should we take that little tiny one or the big one? That one seems like it could go fast. It could rip. Or should we take this one? Does anyone want to capture a giant squid? I think this one is apt for giant squid. MZ says, you never know what you see when you're traveling. My last day in Paris, I saw a band playing the Imperial March from Star Wars. John says, hitchhiking is very common here, but only if you dare. Most locals understand the struggles of community around the island and are very open to hitchhikers. Oh, that's nice. That's very nice. Yeah, I heard about that. I'm still nervous about hitchhiking. Also, I don't know Greek. And I assume a good portion of the islanders here, especially the older ones, don't know too much Greek, too much English. So look at this, very modern overpass construction over here. They're really building up this island. I heard rumors that they really want to make this island a tourist hotspot, but I'm not sure how viable that would be. John says Nas is the ideal place for sunsets. Oh, that's good to hear. Let me check out the cafes down there. Let's go. Susie says there's fires in northern Athens. Yeah, Janice just became a member. Hey Janice, thank you so much for becoming a member. Well, I know you were. I'm not sure if you stopped becoming a member, but thank you. Joe says, what's the population of the island? It should be around 8,000. A little bit more. Less than 10,000. So 8,800. Very, very little. Kay says it's the biggest fire. Oh no, yeah. My heart goes out to people suffering through those fires. Loretta, thank you so much for the stars. I appreciate you. Homemade donuts. Nice. Camilla says, good evening. Are you going to dine somewhere? I already did. I already had my food. So no more food tonight. Well, Yoda says, is there a Zorba the Greek exhibition? No. It takes place in Crete. There was a building that is where it's located. Camilla says, what do you have? You're gonna see it on Instagram Live. I mean, not Instagram Live, Instagram stories. But I will show you right now. I had squid that was huge with filled with some tabbouleh. And this amazing wild green salad with tomatoes and local cheese. It was just amazing. Really blew me away. Helena says, I love these jaunts. Yeah, me too. There's not much here I can show you, but I hope you enjoyed so far what we've seen. Let's just check out the last few cafes. Let's stay away from these dogs. I would think things are more expensive on the island. I had a huge salad, a massive squid, like the biggest squid I've ever eaten, stuffed with even more salad, a cup of wine, a glass of wine, I mean. And spent 23 euro. Expensive. It was pretty expensive, but here, inexpensive. So yeah. But most islands would not break the bank. Only really Mykonos and Santorini would. Travelnista says, do you ever get tired going from city to city? I travel as the pace I want to travel. Sometimes I feel like I pack too much. Not in this case. Wow. Hey, Ikaria used to be an island for exile for communists, and also the famous Greek composer Mikis Theodakis used to live here, and he's the composer of Zober the Greek, yes, and composer of many other famous movies. Mikis Theodakis, or I think he's the composer of Zorba. Do let me know. But yes, communists are also here. A lot of the island did not have education prior to the communist exile after the civil war in Greece, and a lot of the communists that came here were, a part of them were intellectuals, and they started up educational institutions here and schools, and that's how a lot of the island ended up getting rather educated in the previous decades. At least that was what a local islander was telling me, by the name of Opostolis. Very cool guy, follower of the show for the past 2 years. Ooh, there's a post box here. So I might be writing a nice postcards for some mega urbanists. Michael says, would you visit the Bahamas in future live streams? I intend on doing so, yes. Lots of restaurants. This looks nice. White bar. Wow. So, do I get travel going from city to city? Generally, I travel the pace I want to travel. Sometimes I'm in a city and I feel like I'm too long there. Despite me traveling slow in terms of the overall pace, I tend to be pretty active on a day-to-day. I like doing stuff. So yeah, I like to stay in places for a longer period of time than the typical tourist. But otherwise, I like to do a bunch of things each day, as much as I want to or can. Like day trips, going to other islands in this case, or going to ruins, beaches, villages, a bunch of different things. However, I don't go. Sometimes I feel like I'm in the city a bit too long, and that happened to me in Seattle. That happened to me in Chicago. That happened to me in Europe. It's happened to me a few times. Very rare. Madrid. Not so much in Europe, luckily. But in the US, sometimes I feel like I spend way too long in the place because there's no day trips I can take. A lot of European cities at least have day trips that one can take if I get a little bit bored of the city itself. Jeanette says, nice town. Yeah, I mean, the sunset colors are just magnificent. Look at this. Wow. Sue says, get a table for us to catch the sunset. It is a very good place to catch the sunset right over here. Chatty Kathy says, you're like me, I like to do things. And John says, I was raised in Ikaria till the age of 10 when my family moved to Elmhurst. Wow. Wow, John, that is awesome. That blows my mind. I'm glad you went that far. That's so cool. So, you know, there's a very interesting story about a gentleman who I think was from America, if I'm correct. I think his name was Michael Stamatis, something along those lines. And this man lived in, he was born in one of the Greek islands, or I think he was born in Ikaria. Born in Ikaria, his family's from Ikaria, and then he immigrated over to the US. And he lived a long time in the US until he was about the age of 60. And his doctors gave him a very grave diagnosis, telling him that he only really has a few months, maybe a few years to live. But he definitely won't live until his 70s. So this was a very grave diagnosis, and he knew he had very little time. So this man went over here back to Ikaria because he thought to himself, if I'm going to die, might as well die in my homeland, in my home island, and be buried where I am from. So he came over here. A year passed. He was okay. 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 plus years. The man did not die. He just kept on living and in great health. And he was puzzled. He had no clue why this was happening. So he ended up going back to the States to investigate because this was intriguing. The people here in the island knew about this guy and they were also rather intrigued. Why did he survive so long back here? So he went over back to the States to find some answers, and he found out all of his doctors were already dead. He outlived all of his doctors. This man survived until just a few years ago. There's a few interviews of him on American TV. So search Ikaria old age. You'll probably find that on YouTube. Loyoda says, you're such a great storyteller. Oh, thank you so much, Loyoda. I appreciate that. Chatty, I'm sure the camera doesn't do it justice. In this case, the camera's doing pretty damn good justice. But yes, it is gorgeous. In real life, there's a little bit more color. Loyoda says it's the Greek yogurt. Helena says, I'm absolutely loving these Greek island live streams. I'm so glad you are. Beautiful island. Any nightclubs? Joe, I don't think there's not that much nightlife. There might be people hanging out at night in the beaches, but I don't think there's, and also in the Panigiri. So there is nightlife, but it's traditional nightlife. People hang out and dance until the wee hours of the night to traditional music from the island. And I hope to see one of these. I don't have too much time here, but if I get lucky. John says, if you get the chance to visit a graveyard in Ikaria, it's surprising to see the amount of people aged over 100. I would love to see that. I haven't met any centurions yet. I saw one, a guy who drives a boat, the oldest working man in Agios Kyrikos, and he's a centurion. He's about 104, still runs a daily boat from Agios Kyrikos, the capital, all the way to Therma. It's about a 30-minute ride. And I asked the local apostoles, like, oh, what's the schedule? And he's like, oh, when you hear a guy screaming Therma, then you know that's the boat you have to take. There is no schedule. Eleni says there is some nightlife, usually in Rachis, not necessarily traditional music. Oh, interesting. There is nightlife in Rachis. Thank you. So the boat is about to depart. The Mediterranean is good for you, says Susie. Oh, yes. Wow. Will you visit a zoo on your trip, says Michael? Not too many zoos in Greece as far as I know. Alright, so that was a beautiful journey. There's not too much more to the town. There's a few food spots, but it's not too much of a foodie area, though. If you want to try some traditional ingredients, definitely go for the yogurt with honey. Honey here is known to be some of the most medicinal honey in the entire world. The honey actually gets its pollen from pine trees, which is unique. As far as I know, there's no other place in the world where that honey gets its pollen from pine trees. Usually they get it from other plants, other flowers. The other thing you should try is tomatoes. Oh my god, the tomatoes are amazing. The local cheese is also amazing. I'll be posting Instagram stories on it and Instagram shorts on it soon, so stay tuned. And then also the local wine is good if you like wine. Unfortunately, it does make me flushed, which is a bit of a downside. But the local beer, ooh, and it agrees with me so well. Oh, Ikaria is the local beer here, the best one so far that I've tried. There's like one other place called Slow Brewing, and wow, that's amazing. So I highly recommend. Highly recommend having some of the local cuisine. And if I'm lucky, I'll meet a 105-year-old Yaya who will cook me some homemade moussaka with Ikarian ingredients. Stay tuned. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. This is Evdilos here in Ikaria in the northern side. And if I'm lucky, maybe I'll show you more parts of Ikaria some point soon. Otherwise, I'll show you more parts of Greece. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Keep being awesome and always keep on exploring. Yasas.